Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity, and looks like we're going to have another freeze. That's a good sign. Means that likely this will not fail overall otherwise. For whatever reason, rough starts on Fraps recently. But anyway, bottom left-hand corner, we have GGNaugrim from Team Gosu Gamers. It's actually nice to see them field the team. Actually, I have a pretty solid cast out there. So, Naugrim, one of those old guys, again, from Brood War. He actually, I think he plays pretty well at DreamHack. Or actually, no, never mind. He did poorly at DreamHack, had a pretty good run at WCG Sweden, I believe. Just trying to keep my ear to the ground on the information of the players. So he was part of the old school clan Templars of Twilight in the Brood War days, and is just a brutally strong player. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, Brood War player again. But Templars of Twilight, to give you an idea, they were really considered one of the best, if not the best, foreigner teams out there. That's guys out of Korea, and they're really competitive with even the top amateur Korean clans. And I know that doesn't seem like a huge feat with like, oh, amateur Korean equivalent, but those were the guys that fed professionals into the Korean Brood War scene. So they were really top notch. You had guys like, and I'm just going to be listing off names. I think In Control was in there briefly, and I think Yosh was as well, but those are names I think most people are like, what, really? Anyway, he's going up against EGDeMuslim, and this, I think, is my first time commentating EGDeMuslim, one of the few EG players I tend to neglect. Again, doing Europeans, because I want to try to focus on the European front as much as possible. By the way, if you have any recommendations on replays of Europeans you want to see at this top level, please let me know. As if you sneak out into the corner, it is going to see that Overlord. Brilliant play here thus far from DeMuslim. He is going to be sneaking out to that EG house to practice with Idra, I believe, Machine in Control. I'm trying to remember who else is at that house, but a very strong Terran player. I'm very glad to be kind of commentating him. Again, strong European. Unfortunately, he's moving to North American servers, so maybe that's kind of sneaking through the base. No gas thus far. Looks like Naugrim is in fact going to scout that, however. But really nice front door layout here from DeMuslim. He's going to be able to plant this command center right along that edge. Looks like a drone is going to move up and provide scouting information, and that SCV immediately going to that bottom left-hand corner. It looks like there's a fast expansion build in the meantime from Naugrim. Has that spawning pool up and loaded as well, but he's not going to be facing a lot of early pressure here. Looks like Orbital Command also upgrading. But, oof, yeah, that poor drone is not long for life. Nice blockade with that Marine and attack from that SCV as well. But you can see this front door. Even if Zerglings charge at this, a handful of Marines as well as SCVs blocking that small gap, and those Zerglings are going to get just face stomped. Really nice play there from, I got to say, love this setup on DeMuslim's part. Natural expansion should be up in just a moment. And the question is now, what does Naugrim do? Does he decide and opt for more of an aggressive economic game, or is he going to decide to play more of a quick, try to play for more of the mid game? Looks like he does have 4 Zerglings up, because usually when you see a Terran open with this build going gasless, you know that you have a window of opportunity where they're not really going to be able to pressure you, and on top of that, they're going to be forced to go more Marine heavy to follow it up. And as a result, you can kind of pattern your build to follow that. It looks like some Zerglings going to chase down that SCV. I think a lot of players will opt to go early Banelings as a result. On top of that, if they do sneak around and try to go for a Hellion follow-up, you can basically get a lot of damage to them. But I think my favorite thing to see Zerg players do is really optimize the creep spread. And just get that creep out as far as possible, no matter what they're doing, to get it as far as possible, as quickly as possible, out on their front door, and even skipping an early, spine crawl, even skipping spawn larvae to do so. I almost feel like it's worthwhile. Just laying out 2 or just getting that 3 creep tumor spread, maybe even getting additional queens out in there, and a huge wow. All infantry from DeMuslim to follow this up. He's going up to 5 barracks. It doesn't look like he's added on any, I don't even think he's mining gas yet. So it's going to be nothing but Marines at this stage. And flat, wow, just flat income. I don't know if Naugrim is really going to be able to deal with this, because this is kind of the criticism of Zerg here, is he has no ability to scout this. That Overlord, it's going to try to sneak around to that far corner, but by the time he sees this, I don't know that he's going to have an opportunity to react. And wow, this is absolutely nuts. It's going to take a while for this really to pay dividends and to sneak around, but you can see, okay, you've got 1,100, about around 1,000 mineral intake between that and the mules, and there's going to be a lot of Marines pumped out as a result. The one shot for Naugrim is to sneak in and at least get a good look at all of the Marines that are piling on the front door, and I think it might behoove, and he's already doing it, DeMuslim, just hiding these Marines in the back corner to disguise the amount of Marines that he's producing. This is genius play. Already 1 spine crawler out thus far from Naugrim. has not added additional creep tumors. He is getting a Baneling nest, though. And so what this is going to come down to is some magical micro. So, again, very standard opening to go Banelings when you see this sort of defensive thing. But the critical thing for DeMuslim is that Marine spread. If he can spread those Marines out and just charge in. Oh, he's actually going to push out with the Marines he has in the window before the Banelings are even out in the field. So, whew. Naugrim, wow, this is genius. Naugrim is going to have his work cut out for him. This is a huge flood of Marines. How many is he going up against? 23 Marines already. Overlord sneaking up. He is going to see those 4 barracks. He's going to have a slight window here to react. Is building 18 Zerglings right this second. He is getting a second Spinecrawler down immediately. So scouting that in the exact perfect timing window. Again, more defense. And DeMuslim tacking on a ton of gas to follow this up. The Marines diving forward before that second Spinecrawler is up. Keep in mind, a lot of Zerglings on the way, but they're going to power down the Spinecrawler that is not finished. And a huge group moving in. That additional Spinecrawler, transfused, going to stay alive. And I think with that, Naugrim is going to be able to at least buy himself some time to back this attack up. Baneling nest is down. Additional Zerglings being produced. And if he can even build... Wow, actually clean that up with Zerglings alone. Woof! Only 5 Marines left. Great defense from Naugrim. And you could not really ask for a better defense and better time defense than that. Completely stymieing DeMuslim's attack, and that is going to hurt him greatly. He invested so much right there. That's really going... Well, actually, now that I think about it, I was going to say, oh, that totally slows down his third base, but really it doesn't, because he can actually just stop one round of Marines and essentially get an additional expansion to follow this up. There's the tech lab. The upgrades are going to come out late, so these Zerglings are going to be very strong, particularly with that speed upgrade. Single Zergling scouting to its demise, but wanting to get a surround. Nice concavity there for DeMuslim, backing up to the wall. The Zerglings still look like they're going to be able to clean this up, but they are going to take some additional damage, and their numbers should be greatly thinned. Yeah, just down to 4 Zerglings. Both players playing fantastically thus far. DeMuslim flooding out a ton of Marines to follow this up. The one advantage here for DeMuslim is he is forcing more Zergling production rather than anything else, and he might be able to sneak this tech switch. Actually going Reactor plus Tech Lab, so we're going to see... I'm wondering if this... oh, never mind, canceling that. I was about to say, I was wondering if we're going to see a starport and a flip and to get more Marines, or sorry, more medevacs rapidly, but it looks like it is going to be Siege Tank tech, to deal with those Banelings, which is absolutely necessary. It's going to be a little bit delayed on that medevac count, though. That could be a vulnerability of DeMuslim in the meantime. Evolution Chamber plus Infestation Pit. I love this play from Naugrim. And he's additionally taking a third base. So Infestors, great creep spread in the middle of the map. Going to use those, getting also Burrow and Centrifugal Hooks. So going to use essentially Fungal Growth to pin and get some high upgrades. Spinecrawlers also, looks like they're meandering back. I'm curious where they're headed. Kind of odd play. It looks like they're going to try to defend against any sort of drop play, using the Infestor to delay any attack in the middle. But that Fungal Growth will definitely limit the ability of the Marines to get really solid spread. That's going to make those Banelings even more effective. That plus the creep spread. And Naugrim's going to have a very solid front door defense. Plus the upgrades on the weapons melee attack. It is going to be a very formidable army to cope with. On top of that, Burrow might be able to sneak in if DeMuslim is lacking, and I think he is lacking thus far, on any sort of upgrades on his end. I don't see an engineering bay. Okay, he must have 2 engineering bays, actually. Then okay, there they are. I'm missing, but still no turrets up, and that can be something that's neglected. Medevac scooting out, Overlord, Overseer, going to see it incoming. Let's see, actually, if they just drop short. Yeah, it looks like they're just going to drop short, take care of Overlords, and try to clean up that visual lane. I love the cute little Banelings just roly-polying their way up to the north. Looks like some Overlords also scouting out. Look at the vision from Naugrim here at this stage, also creeping up everything forward. But look at the incredible vision spread from Naugrim. This is his vision, and it would be almost as if I had not actually switched off all view. Big army moving forward for DeMuslim, Siege Tanks and Marines. They are combat shield upgraded, but again, they need to be very careful, particularly when they're moving up on this creep. A lot of Banelings morphing in. Looks like 10 at this stage. Sneaking into this brush. Ooh, positioning is going to be vital here. Absolutely vital. There is a handful of Infestors out in the field. This is a very vulnerable position. Catching the Queen out of position. That poor Queen is going to not be long for life, but diving in! Banelings up there. Wow, extremely rapidly, right on top of those Marines, cleaning up this attack nicely. But it was too little defense, it looks like. The Banelings getting crushed. Infestor down. Looks like the additional Infestor trying to flee, and it looks like Naugrim filling in with 22 more Zerglings, where he probably wanted to be those to be drones to Muslim, somehow holding that just through some nice positioning and micromanagement. Actually, I guess no Zerglings on the Siege Tank was the problem there. So the Siege Tank's able to annihilate that Baneling line. But Infestors, more crushing in. Now the Baneling's going to get on top of those Siege Tanks and those Marines. Plus the Fungal Growth, brutal. Goodbye. Death everywhere. They do have level 1 melee, level 1 armor, but those Marines still decently upgraded. Looks like a drop heading up to the north. That Queen is not going to be able to defend it, and on top of that, I think he should be able to elevate her and wedge still to the north. There's creep everywhere otherwise, just in case there's some buildings being snuck. And now the problem for DeMuslim is getting an additional expansion, being able to hold it. Yeah, elevatoring. Should be able to take out this third base at least and try to make it economically equivalent. Ooh, trouble. Zerglings with that speed dashing up, they just feel faster than usual almost. Looks like with those siege tanks to protect on that low ground, that poor siege tank user, where am I going? Getting just trapped. Nice pickup from DeMuslim to sneak it out and preserve it with just 43 health. Still a fungal growth up on the high ground. Should take care of it. Siege tank, is he going to be able to clear out those Banelings? That's the big question, and the answer is no! That cleaned up. Looks like that medevac is going to be taken out as well. DeMuslim now in trouble because he's not really slow. Even though, yes, he's forced a lot of Zergling. Ooh, that going to get cleaned up on top of everything else. Even though he's forced a lot of Zerglings to be produced, Naugrim still at a decent harvester count. And he has basically more territory. Now DeMuslim trying to take this base. He needs to hold on to this for dear life. Because Naugrim, again, tons of infestors, lots of Zerglings to encroach out in the field. Now 15 drones being punched by Naugrim. He knows he's in a defensive position. Whenever you have breathing room, when Zerg feels like they're comfortable like this, it gets extremely dangerous for the Terran. Handful of Zerglings moving up. Nice tank spread. I like them kind of hugging that wall, taking control of that Selnaga watchtower. And very nice positioning from DeMuslim. I like the tank spread. I like the Marine spread. And on top of that, I like the vision he has. He's basically got really good vision control of the territory that he needs to hold. Looks like 4 infestors out, though, in open ground. DeMuslim still somehow has, I guess it's just because of Marines, they build so fast, the raw supply lead. But his main base getting thin on minerals, his natural expansion should be short to follow. Naugrim doesn't really need to attack here. As long as he is, in fact, take another base, that's all he needs to do is take another base, pump some drones, get some more infestors out, and it looks like he's going to fill it in with that Spire, also getting a hive. I don't even know that he needs to build any Mutalisks here at this stage. Might want to build a handful, because usually this is vulnerable against those drops, but he's been on top of it, completely devastating every medevac drop that DeMuslim has attempted to field. 32 more Zerglings produced in the field, Neural Parasite on top of everything else. Just in case we were seeing Thors or something along those lines, one or two Neural Parasites, especially with large infestor counts, and these siege tanks all of a sudden become a liability. Small Marine task force going to get caught out to the north. But just looking at the base, also a macro hatch here in the background. Those, I don't even know if those spark crawlers have been a really big issue. The upgrades playing a huge role. Level 2, ooh, never mind. Infestors might die here to those siege tanks. Going to siege up. Infestors just getting out of range. Whew. Able to scoot out there, dodging a little bit of damage there. But ground carapace level 2 melee. It looks like it actually was a little bit delayed. Still right there. The Marines, pretty highly upgraded level 2 weapons as well. It's about equivalent, I would say. The Greater Spire kicking in, so Naugrim trying to hit that window where you can basically bank a lot of resources, hold back the DeMuslim while he's sitting back and trying to macro up. Looks like we do have a Planetary Fortress there while he's kind of on the defensive and trying to establish his economy. And all he has to do... Ooh, never mind. Big drop bottom right-hand corner. Infestors moving in. Sorry, I was a little bit delayed on that. Unloading, but it looks like it's going to get caught up. And, oh, losing all the Marines in one medevac, and it looks like that second medevac is going to get taken out as well. But huge counterattack from DeMuslim while all of those units are out of position, encroaching into the mid-ground. Zerglings trying to found Banelings there as well. Banelings, though, mostly on top of the siege tanks. And there's Neural Parasite! Oh, from Naugrim, cleaning up that nicely. Wow, siege tanks, nothing left. Just some friendly siege tanks at the moment that are getting self-attacked. I wonder if you get the our units are under attack register when that happens. Probably. Corruptors in production, 7. I'm not even sure you would notice, actually. 7 Corruptors, and I think Naugrim has hit that window, and he does have enough infestors, maybe enough latent Zerglings even. Well, he's got 12 Zerglings. DeMuslim needs to hurry up and move out, because if Naugrim has any breathing room at this stage, he's essentially going to be able to tech 2 Broodlord, and that very will likely be end game. Adrenal glands upgrades to make those pure cracklings, as well as Zerglings going to have the level 3 melee, which is going to make them very, very preserved. More drops from DeMuslim to the north. This base is in fact sacrificed. Naugrim can't do anything about it. Is mostly out of position, and they should be able to crunch that before anything is really accomplished. Tons of infestors moving up, though. Actually, maybe not. The infestors in the area. There's fungal growth. More fungal growth. Unfortunately, that is a snare, not a stop. We're stunned, throwing in League of Legends turns. But the Corruptor's moving up, and there goes both medevacs. And I'm not sure he wanted to reveal that, because now DeMuslim knows, okay, whoops, he's on the verge of teching 2 Broodlords. Looks like he's already on top of that, producing Vikings, also getting ghosts. Try to utilize both some snipe as well as, more importantly, EMP against that large number of infestors. Naugrim actually suddenly getting the supply lead. 5 Broodlords in production, does not, and has just a window of time here where if he can just hold for a little bit, he's going to have a really strong late game army. DeMuslim trying to float at that upper right hand corner, not get starved out in resources. This is a really, really gritty match, extremely close. And DeMuslim, ooh, not landing soon enough, so SCVs are going to be in transition. They're going to be exposed to this Zergling force attacking. Ooh, gonna kill a lot of these troops in the meantime. Poor SCVs being sent to the death. Looks like a cleanup attack force is moving forward. EMP catching all those infestors, and their life is in fact forfeit. Burrow! There's no Burrow happening there, unfortunately. I think he had Burrow. Yeah, there's Burrow. A little bit late, though. Naugrim now in the red, but I'm trying to EMP to detect it. That was actually kind of clever. But there are a lot of Broodlords out in midfield, but not a lot underneath them yet. 34 Zerglings in production, so that problem should be solved in just a moment. Oof, Zerglings sneaking in. It looks like that same group of Zerglings still able to go to the north and do some damage. Actually, they might have snuck in. No, never mind. That structural rock's not quite down yet. Creeping everything, burrowing there, try to deny some additional space. This is crazy. Zergling looks like burrowed, denying that landing space there as well. It's going to force DeMuslim to wait. There's the comsat. 3 Thors in production now that those infestors are out in the field. That might help against those Broodlords, but there's still, additional infestors in. Oh my goodness. I guess it's my turn to say, I don't usually say this, but I will in fact in this situation say so many Banelings. I think that's a full complement of, I was going to say 30, but 28. Maybe not so many Banelings. An adequate amount. And we do have, I love that sound effect. I rarely catch that sound effect in the game. The blue, 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 blue. Overlords full of Banelings looking to do Baneling drops on the back end of DeMuslim's economy. Naugrim in a solid position. DeMuslim still not out of this fight by any means at this stage, though. He does have these exterior expansions, but his problem is going to be territory. He's got a lot of space he needs to control, and he needs to stay on top of it. Thor's sticking in the middle of the map. So you got these Zerglings and Banelings, actually morphing to Banelings to the north. As soon as that army sneaks away, he's going to try to attack that SCV line. He also can expose this location. And on top of that, his additional problem is essentially that Naugrim, while he's doing all this and pinning him back, can probably take that 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock base without too much trouble. Might not do so at this stage, but honestly, I think that would be a good play from Naugrim once he hits 200, is just take those additional expansions. There's the run-in. Sorry you missed it. Baneling drops all over it. Whew. And there is not a lot left but some scrap metal of those SCVs. Army sneaking in, but a little bit late. A lot of medevacs overhead, and this is a highly upgraded army, though. I'm still waiting for these units to try to dive in. Oof. And this is a really scary attack force. The Broodlords have still not been fielded. They've mostly been kind of a defensive pull here. Maybe a little bit too many Corruptors just for those 5 Viking siege tanks. Now DeMuslim moving forward. Thor's underneath as well. They need some Neural Parasite. There's the snipes. Catching a lot of those Broodlords, but ooh, Baneling's moving in from the, wow, catching that coin. It looks like they are going to be able to take out all, wow, everything. Fungal Growth pinning those Thors in place. Still a couple Broodlords up, but not many, only 1. And yeah, too many Corruptors. You can see the Corruptors left over, and they're not doing anything for this army. DeMuslim finding some opportunity to encroach in the middle of the map. He's additionally taking another expansion, that Infestor nearby. Might be able to clear that out. And this is where I'm looking for maybe a counterattack from Naugrim, from that group force to just dive in, do some damage, while DeMuslim is pressing in, being distracted. Ooh, Medevac going to be taken out. Nice, catching a couple Marines in. They're still going to be able to take out a handful of Zerglings while Naugrim replenishes his army. Might lose this expansion. And again, this would be the benefit of having those additional exterior expansions. Looks like Zergling's going to be able to clean up to the north, but this, that hatchery is going to in fact be down. And Naugrim's still doing okay. His economic income is still comparable to DeMuslim, but this is really where he wants to have just that huge dominant economic boost to continue that Broodlord, just endless Broodlord production. Oh, this poor Infestor, he's got to be scared in enemy territory sneaking underneath, but 2 good Fungal Growths there, and that could be everything. Looks like Zergling's going to sneak in. Oh, waiting for that Infestor to do something. Fungal Growth, yeah, something. Ooh, that actually got cleaned up rather well. 2 more Infestors sneaking in. Naugrim perhaps forgetting about that Infestor. Is like, oh, wait a minute, I actually have that. Some Zerglings sneaking in to the south. Looks like they managed to pick off 1 Infestor, but still going to be able to take out this base. 2 Thors just kind of sitting a little bit nearby. That siege tank actually doing splash damage to its own orbital command. There it is. Infestor able to sneak out, able to get some additional damage and fungaling these Thors so they can't get that additional range. Also Infested Terrans on the low ground. And nice. Still too many Corruptors in the air to, well, I guess it's nice to have them padded just in case you have that large Viking attack force. And a drop. Naugrim is all over DeMuslim's base. And DeMuslim saying, hey, that's officially GG. Tell me what I could have done. Wow, Naugrim's play so strong here, and I got to give it to DeMuslim. He put up a good fight. But holy crap. Again, great game from both players. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I think they have this. If you wanted to see the leftover chat, I think they have this replay at Gosu Gamers currently. Actually, I know I do because that's where I got it from. So, yeah, thank you for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And I guess that's about it. If you want to check out me versus Team CSL in League of Legends, that's on Justin TV right now. Unfortunately, my hard drive was filled up, so I wasn't able to record it. Thank you guys for listening.